viewers, welcome back to another episode of the Gambia We Want with our distinguished guests who are quite familiar and household names these days concerning the development of this country. So I leave them to introduce, well, not to introduce themselves, at least to say hello.
Say hello.
I start with Mr. Mane.
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, wherever you're watching us from. Saying to all of you, as usual, we're just happy to be back here to exchange with you on development issues of the Gambia. Saying hello to my colleagues, Lamino and Larry, and Balbe Kontona. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mane. Larry?
Good morning, good afternoon to listeners both at home and abroad. We are back again to deal with issues that we think are pertinent to
Larry and Mane. Today I think we're going to deal with the most current issue of the day, which is about these assets of Jame, which is now the talk of the town, it seems. But it all goes all the way to tell us that what is most important for any government is to have some amount of, some measure of accountability and transparency in whatever transactions they are doing on behalf of the people. But before we go there, I want a specific issue that maybe, Mane, you can address. There's some air tractors that are used for...
Yes.
Do you know anything about it?
I do, and that's really something that might come back to haunt us. You know, these air tractors were used for aerial spraying of, for pest control, and particularly locust control. You know, and that's close to my heart because after high school, I worked for 1 year in the Ministry of Agriculture, and I was in the pest control and crop protection department. And we were working out there in the field trying to control, that year there was a very bad invasion of locusts in the Gambia. And we used to work 14 to 16-hour days trying to control this. So we had those issues in the Gambia because we didn't have equipment. We were responsible from Farafenye, we were based in Farafenye, but we were covering from Bara to Ngain Sanjal. And we were only 6. We had only Land Rover, the rest we had these backpacks, you know, to go spray.
The road by then.
Yeah, the road by then. And also, we sprayed those fields 10 to 14 hours a day.
Wow.
Soaked in malathion, you know. I don't know how we are all surviving up to now. So the locust control is extremely difficult. We don't have aerial sprays. And Jammeh, in spite of all his antics, I give him credit for that. He went to buy those air tractors, 2 of them. Each one cost $500,000. Each of those air tractors cost $500,000. The 2 of them, $1 million. When they came to the Gambia, they realized that the equipment for spraying was not adapted because, you know, these were the boom sprayers and they would just spray all over the place. And it could affect areas which are not even infected by locusts.
They're not very precise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he went for more targeted spraying equipment. And at the time, people in the ministry were so good. You know, they worked with him, they advised him, and he listened. They went to buy these adapted spraying machines from the UK. And each one of them cost 54,000 British pounds. So the 2 of them, 108,000 pounds. So he installed that on aircraft which were $500,000 each. So we're looking in the region of $1.2 million investment to be able to control locusts. With that, if we have a locust outbreak, we can easily control them. This year, FAO has been warning for about 2-3 months now about the possibility of a locust invasion in West Africa. Wow. The locust swarms are forming in northern Africa, Tunisia, Morocco, Libya, and parts of Egypt and Algeria. So they are forming there, and those people are trying to control, but they move. So now they are moving down south towards the Sahel. And we are at a point where the rains are coming, and the breeding grounds, according to FAO, are becoming more conducive to the reproduction of large swarms of locusts. So we are at a risk this year. So FAO has been encouraging countries in Northern and Western Africa to coordinate their efforts and try to get these air spraying tractors, air tractors for spraying, to be able to be on standby and be ready. So today, if you want to go hire any of those in sub-region, there's none. They're all gone, all of them are reserved. Have we made any provisions in the Gambia? I doubt it. And the ones we had, these were more than enough for the country. They sold them off with the aircraft that belonged to Gambia.
No.
These were sold off to some guy in Mali.
Yeah.
That person came to the airport and removed the engines from those aircraft, took those to Mali first, and then they came back with the aircraft themselves. You know, because these are small, light aircraft, you can park them into a cargo plane or into a big truck with a flatbed. So the planes were moved from the airport without the engine, because whoever bought them, they didn't trust leaving the engines around. They could be cannibalized, they could be stolen. So he came for the engines and then came for the aircraft awards. So we've lost those 2 aircraft. So if we get hit by locusts this year, as the FAO says it's possible, we could be in for a massive crop loss. And we had the equipment here. But this looting of the Jammeh assets has cost us those 2 aircraft as well. So the government should account for that. The Minister of Agriculture, instead of talking of arresting Rahim Malik Low and Esamba Ifal, should be thinking of arresting low-cost invasion.
Yeah, it is on agriculture. That's interesting.
Yeah. He should be thinking of arresting low-cost invasion instead of thinking of arresting people. He's not the Minister of Interior. You know, these forays into wannabe dictatorship areas, he should be just off that. And focus on agriculture, focus on the locust control. These aircraft were sold, and from what they are telling us, there was a ministerial committee which was in charge of these things. And that ministerial committee, they are telling us, was the Attorney General, the Minister of Tourism and Trade, the Minister of Agriculture, and the Minister of Lands. So he was one of the people involved in those sales.
Because farmers affected. I remember when some years ago, local soldiering, local soldier, Dulal invade. Need that you men the go be you
don't have Kunko.
So signing FAO. There's a warning about that. Don't also don't you know, that's something else. I don't become mirror so much.
Honey, Kunkilin Nafa Drong and in Tiaro. Didn't fintamini Kota demonstration in Ibololem. O plane for Buja, o plane kilo killing can see Gambia de Covanolen. It's a full be wafi. And the British Mayor Samanan, Anala Kumbe, Kebaja and Anala Kumbe, he trained 2 Gambian pilots. Because they went to Texas to try to get people to come and fly the planes. But the Ajiko is too expensive because pilots of Samanajan came maintain. He trained 2 Gambian pilots and a flight engineer.
Quite a foresight, huh?
Yeah. So he trained 2 Gambian pilots and a flight engineer to operate those planes. Those 2 pilots are gone. They left, they become commercial pilots, commercial airline pilots. The engineer, I don't know where he is. I hope he's still here. But even if he stays, it's useful to us because the planes are gone.
I only hope
I hope so, but you know, knowing this government, I don't.
Left a men for the men can jackally state ministers like instead of be concentrate la function and try to shine in there, you cook it, you could have mail or mobile sabo. You can fight political all the time. I think it's very unfortunate.
Because more left like a Kabaro say one day, Kakumo family diala. Exactly. Exactly. Ikeju minna, Taita Udo.
Agriculture is more baby complaint, it become all journal. Fertilizer because you don't know, hanging thread over canals, hanging over
Go to the agric headquarters in Bakau and see how dilapidated
exactly.
it is. Exactly. Go to Yundum Agricultural Station, that pest control, animal husbandry sections, all dilapidated.
Exactly.
So what's happening?
And we are playing politics with the lives of farmers.
Agriculture is one of the departments who gets so much assistance from abroad, projection Kodol. A big time into it. A big time into it. Very good agriculture department, some in a bureau think. that whole area from Bara to Ngen Sanjal, Mol kam commandil, al na sama bebe tinyala, sama bebe tinyala. Ntol mo woro donem. Nka tale nga sprayation bambum koto. We had only one Land Rover, make a spraying. Now for number we find spraying la, and then loga dum kunkol kon. From 6 in the morning up to 10 at night tomorrow. Be spraying la. But we asked Yundum to send us more spraying machines. So Catalan distributes at a mole family. Namala mixi and Akia kono, Yadum Kunko, Nibedum Kunko. We didn't even have mass pour come from protect. I don't know how that didn't kill all of us. But it is seen on Yamola Sama baby Tinyala, New Wangoli Jita Sate Okan. In 2 hours, Fembika to Kabelodom, and before they go, you look at it. You know, so that was what the country was saying, and I lived that firsthand. So the FAO, that's a possibility in Yinan. We should all be scared.
So I can see Munanda, you are so passionate
Exactly.
about agriculture. It's a long way back.
It's a long way back.
You know, so and it's a major agenda item for development for
Exactly.
UDP, you know?
Yeah, it is.
No,
and it's a development agenda for the whole country because na development lola agriculture lekan. You know.
Ah, well, anyway, thank you very much for that. But
Yes.
the general issue is about the assets of Gambia.
Yeah.
Meng Mobeba Diamukan right now, commissioner Seplen up, Jamé Fengolmentan, Puri Bewafi. Then is a good old Aranke Soko. Sandiam Jamana Dafint. But may end the surprise. New asset all wife over 7 years old, side they can have more balance sheet on Nafi. When Jack and then I'm a balance sheet of Bianico Galia drunk, Yafo. Another friend as an example, Nina does a banyan fell. But friend man, okay, go many hours and go Kaito Nafi, many have only Kaito. So there was no
Mune Itilatola.
Malo, I don't know. I'm just
Because Gabriela Reta for Janivana.
I want to say to this asset thing.
No, ying asset ko lamin kuma fulale fota president e kuma fulale fo.
Okay.
Kuma follow I offer angale account. But I meant for angale account and I meant for maninka account e mankili.
Yeah. Yo.
Mem for the maninka account I call fintin the world.
All right.
Angale account ngamira ala address be minute sabanim fennam.
Okay.
But I meant for angale account wala mu ñenti ko ñim fengolu be wafila I wa fo datita wato men atara commissioner be searing ha so in essence commissioner le ol wafi
Interesting.
among core issue ñim address which is who bought those assets, how much did they buy them for, and when. Those are 3 core questions among men jabi. Hanala mandinka counter I memfoje. I wish Fang Baro sometimes nabe diamula Gambian I diam mandinka counter because at least he is coherent, he makes a lot of sense and he can explain himself. I memfo mandinka counter essentially ako ntelenga commissioner London. Commissioner doku okay. Commissioner recommendation okay. Ngela recommendation ota in the white paper. Barik commissioner be nyim fengol be wafila wato men mamba kalam. Barna nal hakilo bama anene ko atele inform ta Gambiano beti. Ala nene ofola.
Yes.
I'm more informed than everybody in this country. But kunun address okono akonyim kuol be kala wato men na mamba kalam. Yo, nte fe. Ngala kumo moy because president lem. Hanima bunya isala officer bunya. Ngala kumo moy. Baramal lan na kumafu. Natra nunko president Baro lafta lan na kumo fala. Abe nyil listo bande amanjare fang ay ta diamu molie banko e. Nabe diamu la banko e ko e listo fela e listo fintin. Be listo di lalla ntela mansa kunda ko nyino mu listo ti men correcta bar wododo manke listo ti je fengol wafita nyame moma long jumalle fengol sang moma fanal long isanta jolle la moma fanal long So ako nga bula National Assembly e kiskisiroke. Aning juma ko teke National Assembly ning National Audit Office. Ko wal kiskisiroke. Ni wale kiskisiroke report on natai then abe menkelas as a decision ota wato.
But you know what is going to be so different? When different like kunung katu audit report jamal belare. So ninyi ndo fanana what's going to be the difference? Ko abet kubekelaje. That's kabri nga ngam fanjini kawal.
Iba tu lamini afen janim bedun na nying audit report because
audit report will be lavi nyoka ibe tindirande.
Ani investigation report will be police.
So say nyindo mune be different la ko ni wanata kubekelaje.
That's different la je kaminke ibe timeless sankandro. Ka fumo le hay Gambia no le kanyina journal e batango dama fen sambe be yinala. Investigation o commande. So ñing kiskisirol fente bola je because birin samma sankoto wato de kiskisirol ka kedro mbar fembe ka finti je e malla fi fewol ye finti kula ni nga karna ni kiskisirota janotem gamenol be ñina lale si nañu ko wala den sawon kuudor so wato wati kuru yaketa nin ko ngafo e ko hambina ambina kiskisirol war kiskisirol nene mam banjang kiskisirol ma fa ñe mu nek jang so ka mol fa wala don pour signi nga sawon kuudor to le côté kuru yala so wala na mol ko sayen hani ka to laftal min be kering ay fo ay sene ka marte ko ñe ko ntolu nga fengol wafi le fo ka ban fo listo be mbul parenta fo la moli ka to mallafi milia sang ye malu wala ye ku soto je mi yalon ka si bali ila fengolu enjoy la wala nan ta dilal bi kana mo ka fñe ko ha amamba wala malli soto be listo be jeel fa banta baro fa ko yanta mil wafile lu wafile comme la rekami fon dol wafile jahne jenne commission be bandira do ko dol wafile listol be commission bandi ko la fana dol wafi ko teke so augustus premier dol wafi alpha bariya dol wafi sheriff division dol wafi
commission dol wafi so o bebe bulle listol bi jele ni ko nyam wafi lip ka wafi ton o nyama ton mole ka sang aya to dila ala identity dila ala ID card wala la passport ni mo ko de si lolati nya ibi ko wafi nyama mi ya sang nyanta londal jumalem ala identity dila ya safe ala address dila ya safe and all the particulars ni mo su tetel walati nya so mi fe woni sambi jenta lon ba la iman la fi nga lonkal kuru yalla kete je so la flañi la flañi commission of inquiry lon dila nga jël jam mo tolu ka
so by time
ha mo tolu ka sang four wheel drive pajero lo wuli lulu dal se wuli lulu last week la gana moto se ko faling
moto 5
kilo wuli woro nga wala jo 5 kilo so ka moto mo mebe wa wuli woro moto se ko da ko da moto
deda kila scrap ti mi da fen ko ka be nyaadi scrap ko ka be e kana ni pusol ina do fera ma bula ta fera
ami moto da si wuli lulu moto se ko fon da ko la ta wodi
wallahi
so you know bari iman la fi la ngalo be kerin ka to imeji la nyinna imeji la fon kele fi la ka fe ko do e funti akata da mi duñ da mi ya fonye so wole sila saying ko mata batu nga saying at time we buy time na fere ke mole nyina nyina wala nyen ko resi no en ko redi ni commencé jan li mam ba ngam la resi do fo je fa nga wala rebula ya fali en ko redi jamal bin kete jam
yeah because problem over dame wala nyenti ko nga mem fo foloke a lot of audit reports ning from call be hearing from mam photo to mambaje so ko nyindo fa na na mune be moy convince la ko nyindo is different ku be kala jele that's my problem
sako hekatu fa na tele ko audit mu opinion da malati
yeah, that's right so it's a bit confusing for me anyway
no yalong lamin part of nying mbedol fola tuwa kanto mbedol fola manin kaka
yeah sure
baroy problem wala soto meati nankay problem wala soto molu mal lay même fo because audit report all bijele kisi role bije dol be police ko e dol samba attorney general's office ye attorney general yol murundina ñin listo mem ba folate ñilbe takan ne bakan fo ay sanji sabasi say
And Kumankije.
Kumankije. So there is a credibility problem. Why do I say there is a credibility problem? All these audit reports have been done. And audit procedure in FANG, it does not lend to a whole lot of credibility. Because the auditors say, and I have this on LinkedIn, the auditors say, when we go out to audit, we audit and we send our report to the National Assembly. Now, procedurally, when it gets to the National Assembly, it goes to the Public Accounts Committee. In the last parliament, the Public Accounts Committee did not release one audit report in 5 years. Last
session.
No, not legislation.
Last parliament. The last parliament.
So it is interesting. Jumal was head of the finance committee at that time.
Let people do their research and draw their own conclusions.
So you have a whole finance committee, somebody heading it. Among
5 years. No, the auditors have given these reports to the public, to the National Assembly, and procedurally it goes to the Public Accounts Committee.
Something like that.
Yes, something like that. But in 5 years, that Public Accounts Committee, Imam Fenke.
It will be interesting to know.
Nimole Hakilo Tuje, Kabrin changes keta 2017. The then Auditor General, Karamba Toure, started releasing all these audit reports. Until account, he has released about 48 audit reports, and I downloaded all of them on a flash drive. That's when Karamba started releasing all these audit reports.
Nothing is done.
And that is when the president says they are just opinions. The individual doing it could have a bias. So there is a credibility issue. Sila iko me alonko na reporto dealer aka bias le. Now you are saying I'm going to the same guy. What is different though for him, I think, is this new Auditor General. This new Auditor General also has not released any new audits. Niama, I have it in writing on LinkedIn. When you question them, they say we have a procedure. Procedurally, we have done it. It's at the National Assembly. If the National Assembly does not release it, we can't release it. So they hide behind these administrative procedural issues and not give us the transparency that we need. Now, this new Auditor General, if he releases it, I'll be the first to commend him publicly. I make that commitment today. Because I have not seen him do...
I hope it's not going to be a matter of opinion again.
No, well, if it is whether it's a matter of opinion or not, the important thing is he releases the information that people want. And that he owes taxpayers who are paying his salary to come. I have absolutely no confidence that the procedure that the president has laid out is going to yield any result different from these ones that I'm going to be.
Well, that's the point.
Listening to you guys.
Well, no problem with it. What's so different now? Because if you have over 48 men pending, nothing happens. You push them aside because you think they are biased or they are matter. Now, what is so different about this? So, what confidence are they to try to build that up?
Now, from 2023, you had the Secure Report audit report.
Okay.
There is 160 million.
That's the one at the airport?
At the airport.
Okay.
That's 160 million. You have the Banjul roads. $2.4 billion is $41 million. You had the Fatmataba Barrow Foundation, 35 million. You had GAM Petroleum, 1.2 billion, 1.2 billion for 20 million US dollars. GPA, Port Authority, just that one unit, yo dindingulu menu muta for a suspend iko investigation or keta ya reporto samba Attorney General's Chambers for Action. Honeybee, it is pending. Amam fin. Jolle me woti $400 million. That's $400 million is just one unit. And then the $300 million that was disbursed to the IEC. That was also an audit query. Nothing has happened. Respond. Yeah, they will not release their bank details to the auditors to verify that these monies actually went into their personal accounts. That's still pending. NDMA, National Disaster Management Agency, 100 million, still pending. The Abasanyang case, investigated, still pending. Mega Bank, still pending. Airport renovation, 41 million, still pending.
No,
this is just...
but they are doing something about it. Every day some scandal comes out.
Yes, Nkanyil Mel listing. Anim Kutamal Mankiling. 9.6 million euro di Mola Kataboso from Social Security Kataboso Wadatije. The 75 million swap Datije. The 2 billion loan that was signed with the Islamic Development Bank on December 4, 2024. Ofanan Datije. I'm just saying these go back 3 years.
The more current ones,
the more current ones, more thing. We are working on a compendium. We released a compendium of all these pending issues so that the public can know that there is a credibility issue. Yes, so in essence, we are saying there is a credibility issue.
Yeah.
If he does things the way he says he's going to do it this time around, it will be a departure from the norm. But this is the norm.
You call that the norm?
Well, this is the norm.
Serious, huh?
This is the norm. Then I want to conclude by saying, 2 years ago, we came up with words to describe this government.
Okay.
One of them was, it is a transactional government.
Subhanallah.
And these transactions are proving that it's actually a transactional government. The other ones are 4 issues. You remember we say this government can be defined by its incompetence, indifference, corruption and impunity, and in divisive identity politics.
Incompetence is so interesting. You put out an official notice, B, then that is Wednesday, something like 13th of May.
Yep. They couldn't even get the month right.
I'm telling you, then in order for then on 14th of March 2025, from the time traveling,
exactly.
it's just that's very common.
So Gambians need to put this in a context. The incompetence is showing. Otherwise, you set up a commission of inquiry. They've done their work. They issued a series of reports. Now, in those series of reports, you drew a government white paper, which you discussed in cabinet, and you do selective justice in how you implement the recommendations, and you put them in your white paper. All of that is done. What people need to know is, if you really want to know what went down in this commission, please read volume 4.
Volume 4.
Volume 4.
Is it available?
It's available.
Bon.
Please let people read volume 4 of the Jana Commission report. After they finish reading volume 4, let them go and read volume 9. Volume 9 is volume 4 is the James businesses, charities, and assets. That's when you have all these things listed out. It's a huge volume. And then volume 9 is the volume that is devoted to individual criminal liability. Momo Emenke, everything that anybody has done is there. You know, some people who are loudmouths talking about all these issues, when you read that volume 9, certain pages in that volume 9, they should be ashamed because they have no business talking to Gambians when they have actually pilfered resources from the people of this country under the guise of Jammeh sent me. Jammeh wrote the note. Volume 9 and volume 4.
That's interesting.
Now, the incompetence part. This commission they did all those reports. You did a government-wide paper, and you started implementing the recommendations. But the core recommendation is the assets. And you say you don't have a good handle on the assets.
Yeah,
I cannot wrap my head around that.
You don't have a balance sheet of what's happened. You know, for sign now, I don't get it.
And then the indifference part is, you know, we are going to do it. Gambians, when they make certain noises, it's only 2 or 3 days. Another issue comes, they pack that and go. That is the mentality we have. It's the indifference.
Parliament, National Assembly, then it akila public, which I find that a bit.
That is the indifference part. When you combine incompetence, indifference, corruption, and impunity, because people, this assets issue, it strikes at the core of the impunity that is in this country. There are no consequences for any of these decisions or actions. No consequences. And the president is subscribing to that by not just throwing the hammer on people. When you look at him talk yesterday, you know there is no commitment to deal with corruption. They are going to come and attack us and stuff. But if the president is committed to corruption, wallahi kunung, he would have done something.
In fact, everybody was expecting that. Maybe and
the public is lashing out already. There is a lot of activity on social media, the public saying these things. Now, what I'm saying is, people have this view called Barrow is so peaceful, he cannot or will not do certain things. This is one issue where his legacy depends on. If he cannot stop protecting these people, his legacy is gone down the drain. That's where I'm going to stop.
African leaders will get a problem. You know, when they in fact want to even step out, the hangers on Bukala Theater. So if you want to drag those people along, I cater for saying more because
you see,
I don't know.
That is the fact is it will be
I suppose so.
Yeah. Hangers wouldn't stop them. I'll give you 2 examples. Next door, Senegal, 1980, Senghor Tatale. 78, Akoyeko, I am going to go in 2 years, and I'll hand over to the Prime Minister. A delegation came, no, Senegal without Senghor will not be Senghor. You are the father of the nation. I'm going in 2 years. 1980 Sita, he packed up, handed over to Abdou Diouf, and left. When I did because I'm Abdou Diouf le problem soto, no mobile club or later I banco Bebu Latarsi France. Abdou Diouf continued. Abdou Diouf in 2000, very electional banta, and the Kaiko, you can stay. If like no, manipulate the Minister of Interior at the time, General Sisi, Mr. President, we've lost. I press commandina, Anata, Akoeko, electionolu, Mboitale, apply what leganeta, so I'm congratulating, apply what my congratulations, I'm handing over to him. Dear Tata. And from all cover the Kakana ties, we'll manage this, we'll do this, we'll do that. But Tatale. Okay? Nimil Peretala will Katali. Yes, Botswana. Festus Mohai.
Yes, Mohai also.
Mohai Nabi Sirin Nung Mulungushi Conference Center in Lusaka. And last year in office, I'm sitting here, but next year, I'm sitting in public journal. I'm stepping down. African dealers, he stepped down. He handed over. He didn't have to. He handed over.
No, but that Festus Mohai, he gave the seat to Yan Kama.
Yes.
Kama became president.
Yes.
2 years before his second term ended, he also stepped down and gave it to his successor.
Yes.
His successor served 1 term. Last election in November last year, Masisi lost the election.
Yes. And he left.
And he left. He's living in the country, enjoying himself. Nobody even cares he is there.
Yeah.
So these are the legacy issues that we think Barrow should be grappling with.
Exactly. And when you do that, you can stay there and be quite... Jerry Rawlings killed generals, killed people, but he managed the country so well and so transparently and so honestly. He stayed in Ghana, Mama Harris. So, Barrow and control me Kong ko G, Yeta si Yera Cairo Muta, because Laftale Sino enjoy as a former president. I would want to live in Usain Dabo Jita. I see and enjoy Dobo or wherever he wants to stay and be an elder statesman. But that means on TV, you saw how uncomfortable he was.
He was.
His body language.
And then to see that million dundi in kono.
Are you sure?
So nim cool maneta. Baby Talia Filiji, the Maltalaji, he'll handle it alone.
Yeah, because the buck stops with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Milia would in kono. Ning Tatanyatu no. A revolution oti. Fuya Jindi at the Balem. Ibe Borlea to ye until Mawang and Yaye. Latarjim Banco democratic state, Natera election only Kamuluka Faringo Kewa, Faringo Kana Kexila Dola. But Italy do cooler. Neo Doku as Keno Nyama. So to qualify Banco Mutaya Doku as a republic and as a democracy, and me Yanko Dolbina Dolita. Neo case, Ila the Hard only be a Nila Samanafa.
Men ba norma won fana na mene miracle better la nyang position si
Yes,
pato.
wala tinna.
So ye cool men.
Ni be nyaton kayala. Mol tombo milia lonko e do ko nole e be do ko sambanola le. Kana mol tombo milia lonko a karle diata nyambe wol tombon. Ni binde ata yo tombo nje. Binde fana be wala kala.
Yeah.
Sama ko le ambi je sama e ko kanem. Because ni banko dila nga jira pour ya do kundi. So bi milika sibe mulu khadani le ko kun tamlu fola ko si amira ko baro bi en fo boray so man sila da so la bare wala mutanatela wala ne ka diamu nyama ba birin ko duta baro fo de wuntale niaji television kunu bal ko yinde wuntale andu mansula wala mansula ka de wundi nyama pura e jiyo ji nyama ne wala laftala ay sijan 2026 nga bouté electional to na man sakunda ta ay ta si man kaman kunda ayala retirement enjoy.
I remember.
Fajara on ten fajara be busila.
Yeah.
That's la fajara.
Take do ko la.
Ha to nyama.
Lafta blakili ne lala nyinka. Nga watu jele for last. COVID-19. Ministry of Health. $600 million. Hanibi kese mambo jaba.
Konde man fo Senegal fenko wala sota nyoka man kadu ni la mo ni la mo Senegal ika yisi fo la.
You see ni le bebe keri njanne.
The only difference.
Makika men fonu.
Yes.
Ma ci tek sama choncho.
Exactly. In fact, I think
baro fana ya no ko wala lo ñu be kan.
But it doesn't last. It doesn't last. Abukan laba.
Last molmen ka foko UDP council corruption obijel. Okay, let's take for granted there is corruption, just for argument's sake. Whatever corruption was revealed in Brikama, can that be compared to what they are doing?
I'm telling you, these figures are...
It cannot.
It cannot.
Now, if you put all the corruptions in all the councils together, can you compare that with this list, just this list? The scale of corruption in the central government
is just...
It's a tsunami of corruption.
Yes, I like that.
It's a tsunami of corruption.
Yes,
And people should not fall for their deflection. Ka foko ha UDP le bijang KMC tolbe banyuno. Focus on this big money.
You can't convince anybody because
Yeah.
there is no corruption. That's one thing.
You see, because KMC, Talib lotal nung ako, Senabu Martin, isunyaro lako iba suspend. Ikate kila.
Yep.
Labong inata suspend. Ye policeol kinang with ha kanaka ola ofiso bunda katika dundije.
Diakuya.
Diakuya. Wofang already ye luality ya.
No,
Is that
you can more motivate the poor
Supreme Court try sentence wala? Okay. Brikama Area Council.
The Jongas.
Nga mo le jonga nyolu aning jeng nyolu ye kunta yalla min kaje wol ñanta tala suspension ko no bi wal do investigations bare mu nekk ye sawundi ye do samba man sa konko ye do samba malo mento nga do samba banjul le faw ye sawundi bare min be no banjul ba mo UDP council leti ando UDP ko malo lo ma wol tombo
I know.
mi le banjul ye wol be suspend ye interdict
Oh, really?
yes yes
They
but
didn't
jonga
do the
ko
same
aning
thing.
jeng ye wol sawundi ye sama
Gal ko
lalo
di kumba am de ya kumba
Mahmoud
amul.
Day, exactly. Exactly. Minketa Basse, Imam Foje, Minketa Kunta Foje, because we'll be mula mollet.
But when you diary entry money to back here days.
Imagine when I enter and DJ sign.
I can also. I'm a Gambian will be. I'll tell all the Gambian. More
Momo
be
yama
diary.
bayi, kilo fonte sire,
Yeah,
sa sama nari le.
Enough lanya wala kante.
Because events kara nyamen dal. You have a lot to enter in these things, you know.
Ni ko jube mi fa ni toro warata wala nyimman sakunda kuriya be kerinje mo tafala ko malong bari nsake ay diyanna wala be nunje
Impunity.
ye fanna ma lare mil be fote wala be jube nyokando ando manda won president office fango ko do yemantaje audit yafa ministry of justice ko do yemantaje yafa ministry of agriculture tamam so dula bele mu
Fisheries
wali la daf mo jani la
environment mamfo.
Yo.
Youth and sports mamfo.
exactly so ni wol bela nyoka department jang ni ya lonko ni kiskisiro yete ita bondila so nimma sakunda men be siro nyama president ka fay kon temala min be kering kana tulu nyola yalo ne tawta walla malon do ko manyana tar la president yala ni tonya amalo uta manyana kala president katu momi yalon ko ministre bebe buluje permanent secretary be buluje advisor be buluje NIA be buluje and everybody will be advice la yeto ko ma wollo you don't need to be president you shouldn't be president
Yalong lamin on nying abe nying kiskisi romen nate. Na ko moli lala. Ananta kisikir sabale lala ka.
Okay.
Kisikir follow OIC.
Okay.
The OIC.
Omar.
War roads, vehicles, silol, motol, aning conference expenditure koteon. Inyanta audit la forensically.
Every program or activity na kira nyanta audit la.
Yes, anyanta kela barabu kake. Walam number one. In the three big pending audits. The second one is GRA.
Okay.
Gambia Revenue Authority. Ikanyi audits men be mo ibuka mo ko GRA audit.
Yeah, why?
That's true. Coming to look at it.
I sat and thought about this kuno.
That's
Ibuka GRA ma.
Why? And that's where you collect the revenue for the
Imam
country.
OIC ma. Ibuka Port Authority fanama. So ntefe while Albanian Jana Commission Asset School kisikisila, I think the best solution would have been to bring an external auditor.
Yeah, for EC, they were technical assistant or the science side.
Any UN system.
Science side is
you have
technical at no cost.
Any of the donors.
Yes.
You
Yes.
need to bring in external auditors.
They'll
And you
pay
don't
for
just
it.
need to do a management audit. Because Niajibe, this National Audit Office, all they do now is management audits. You need to do financial statement audits, and it has to be forensic. So, ni lafta molie lela. ye external auditor nati kanyin jana commission ko kisi ka GPA kisi ka GRA kisi ka OIC kisi na fintita ko mole ko nyile nyinti nyarole ke ntebe wulambita lola state house da to ngabulo ko sai
me placard or something.
And that is what is unfortunate. The people who are investigating now need to be investigated.
Yes.
So investigate the investigators side.
Yep. That's what it does.
I remember it's possible. Here for you and here for EU. They give them some free of charge. No, they will provide some technical assistance. Yeah. Not that at young, but to build back confidence and things like that. You know. But it's unfortunate.
Let them bring an external auditor.
We don't even need that fund. Bring back a Karamba Toure.
He will do it.
Bring back an Abubakar Sankare.
Ne ol ma ikafo yol mu UDP let wala nante ko external auditor. Yes, ne tonya for UDP let.
But in fact, left over for la fang. That means criticism membe kata against UDP. That means UDP lebe tonya kang because nimbe kana finti wala.
Barika ika deflection.
Kambe wala deflection because sai moli ejele ka jelo ko ika mela UDP kan arrest iketeng their security threat. Will be with deflection whilst ika membe for all factual.
Look at it this way. Honey audit report they have the comprehensive list. But it must not be like drip.
15-20% from us.
And decide. But it's a killer. But even when we finished Ajube, there was one guy, a certain Seydou Diallo.
Yes.
Moto tanna ni woro wula wala
tanna ni Seydou Diallo.
Yaya Diallo fana. Seydou Diallo 47 moto tanna ni woro wula moto tanna ni say wala sam.
And in the lady called Toure.
Dolo bije I will say kawal fata dolo sa wuli lulu 4-wheel drive or wuli lulu dolo bije wuli tang. Ni 4-wheel drive pajero ni Mitsubishi ay mil sang wuli tanna ay woro wula sil. Dolo bije wuli lulu. I'm going to turn down the world among million fulasi.
Really?
All put together.
Yes.
All put together. I'm turn down and say obey. And some in a million fulasi. Be a million full Mutsabana also like Gambia. I tell you, turn down and say will be almost new million full. You mind? So Lebije, Sunya.
But Mr. Mane, you know, these are indelible.
Procedure me from Tamataje, Tinyaro Minkataje no Bejebe. And no mobile fintabi try if I justify. No bata bedu moi on coffee time. And on 40 people by the people. What they should call in a lawyer for an annual CJ. I'm going to the assets will be TDA, Tourism Development Area. Yalo ye freeze leno. Atata je ako justice amina Saho Siseng Amiras amina Saho we are on freeze. Only a freeze no. Atata we are on freeze. Not on freeze because there was one investor. One investor comme lefno pour que investment que je wala ko kama lefno ka be on freeze. Pour que land sotoje. Musunden kono. The judge said no, akata akela. Miru kata akela. I have found me tomorrow legal communication start. Itata justice jaiteya. Do fana dundi pour we are on freeze. In law, nka fole forum shopping. Wala yaaju be ni tata nyi mita jojuma le amiyal pour si decision so so tara justice amina jeyte amina sa ho ya manson ye borieta fenke ya jeyte ya bare ni be o kala in law inyantale disclosure soto je ita jeyte ya afa nga gestu ndinu jeyte yale sa ho yale bara manson bare ni net nambe nete ya tay explain it to him. Sa niwo kola fanan tauta aya on freeze I totally at the decision ota. But yeah, maboma. Because Jojo coming don't necessarily. Sometimes I blame. It I thought nukun is body jaita case to do the jaita, it may tilling jaita ka me case there justice Sahoyan. And in Yanta you are supposed to have that disclosure.
They are supposed to provide a brief for him.
Follow, Yanta disclosure killer. Yeah. Fulanjam. Ning ayatara for someone bekela. The justice, if I'm here, you give him time, put out do consult. But okay. Thirdly, administrative cancellation of a judicial decision. Jojo a decision tale. Purka decision buruka, and we are looking more semos buruka, ita administratively buruka. So administratively ita okoma, ita finti doya, ita dun case dun doya, purka. Is wrong. Legally is wrong, and Attorney General is wrong. And more than me do cook ya alone. Everybody around him ya alone. Munat na yake. Ikape no technicality lemu because we investment lela quickly. Katu ne onto mari kakatali. So I ta for the man invested. So you don't break the law. Purka investor containing.
Yeah.
But you totally okay. And everybody around him, but they did it. You see, Ninga Banyama, Justice Jaite, she was just nice. She was just nice. But she could have held them in contempt.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
She could
have held them in contempt as he convened Nolenum. I someone not in decision of Talia, somebody in do Bruka. Alimenke is against the law. You administratively invalidated that decision, which you cannot do. Okay? She could have.
That is Sahosi Okeno.
Sahosi Okeno.
Yeah.
Sahosi Okeno, she convened Nolanum and hold them in contempt. Maybe the Minister of Justice at Africa also wrong. Yes, but why is somebody? Minister of Justice Yes.
Well, in other countries,
holding in contempt. Yes. They are holding presidents in contempt.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Sarkozy in France.
He's
walking around with a
Mauritania found
exactly.
Just couldn't sentence passed. Yeah. But in a lesson learned, like I was saying, dunya. Always I come back to that. Dunya falintale.
Yeah.
You know, with social media, the youth population, and the general awareness and things like that. So they don't last. Agam they come for saya bukan labang. Tuanya kana labang. No matter how long it takes. So malo ibuko factor
bari na pexe. Juba ko gen.
Wolende wonte dal wole fisa. Go say nyimku mo si wo regle no nyadi la because more bigger UDP they look forward to UDP. But then na keta fanang ika mol silan di UDP la ko be ba ni mo man ku kay UDP
mo nekela mo da boya fola ko ni UDP sita there will be justice without vengeance and exactly the same thing Senegal lo jebi Ousmane Sonko ñu fay ko ñun duñ feyeku loi bi moy jaar fi mu wara jaar so bi Macky Sall ya donc ko la mili be kan yow le be fintindi nam ibe wolle kitindi kan ning ñu lu fanan jita lu wolum e kam be ma ba fintidal
of course
comme jamme mil ba ba be fintidal
no matter how long it takes it will come out
ba fintidal e fa kam be ma ba fintidal mo mi malla sama be siyala andu mo ngani yam moy
Jibedrom mol me motol sang the biggest bias.
We have Seydou Jallo 38 vehicles, Ja Oil 33 vehicles.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Jallo 28.
Omar Jallo 47, not 38. Me I contact
47, yes.
Yeah. Modul Omar Jallo 20 and Ibrahima Jallo. It seems they are all Jallos except Ja. That's it. Profile of something
that's
else.
Already suspicious. That's already
It's
suspicious.
It means
we have a Jallo, a Njai, a Mane, a Kulubali, a Jata.
You know, Namanke Jati. It's all Jallo. That's, it's all suspect anyway.
What he's saying is that there is, like I mean, the tribal politics.
Yeah, I
should not
think
be
you
there.
mentioned some
It should
divisive
not be
and,
there.
yeah.
The tribal politics manyana tarla in Gambia kono because Gambia do yata wele. Mbele wuluta mbele sita mbele ka futunyo ka be nyo konole. Bari nyim president wate manku hati foka molu dundi nyoto ka siol dundi nyoto ka siol biye mandin kolin bay sama fululin ba sin yolalin ba surwal etc. You know, sign even set up another Muslim council of elders whatever.
So national dialogue for this kind of stuff.
National dialogue, we were there.
Yes,
What happened national dialogue? Nothing.
You know, and it will be interesting. UDP Mandano.
Yeah, you know, Yaji, Bankola, Tataji, Tolomosa, baby jail. Without false modesty, we did a good job.
Yeah,
nothing.
Every time the blame goes to UDP, but then now people are beginning to see.
It's just going to buy time, Kamolu Ninandi, and then we move to something else.
So that means Nindolmen baby 48 Ketanyame,
Exactly.
So by the time it's 3 months, everybody has forgotten about it.
We move to another issue.
But the diary will still go on.
Lafta men la fala nyinka. Ye listo membon. Ye listo nyin niya kasabi. Namera 200 and something properties.
Yeah.
220. Ye 45 le release.
What's the percentage? That's interesting.
45 le release. There is a balance that they haven't released. 45 is less than 20%. It's less than 20%.
About 16, 17%. Yeah.
It's about 15.75.
Okay. Okay.
15.75%.
So all that time,
so
you could have done me a bill. You could have yes, back. You could have done since then. For the past 5-6 years, you could have done 200 plus. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Because maybe somebody is maybe renting them. Maybe somebody is living in there.
Even ya bitawa to menna imafo moto dol tata Mauritania.
Audio dole ka feed
mo malo moto be damen sign.
Dole ka fuko dia moto dole intercept malo airport.
Yeah, at the airport. Well, they are not part of the list. Mole nyidin karo fananke ko Rolls Royce nim Bentley ni.
Only
ibe State House. Mol buke hakilo Gambia no buke hakilo tu ibe State House ala muso ka killing usual konale.
Because Sotumo has some good vehicles.
No, he has a Rolls Royce and a Bentley.
Yeah,
Mercedes Benz S-Class,
yeah.
S350 and S500.
I hope you see around falling because I'm going to see around Balaya to
customize. You can change it. But I will not spend money on getting that rubbish out. I will just ride it like that. It's a constant reminder ko me nyinke asike non te fanana.
Yeah.
Yana ko momoy. Nyimolu inyanta fintila nan net wrong wala mukumo bandawti.
But you see, when you look at the frustrating part, Neo Motoli Bejube, over 250 vehicles, most of them luxury vehicles. You will tie ye fufalti wafi, ye doli yemande. And then, 5 years down the line, you go and buy 87 vehicles for $1,080 million for an OIC conference.
Now, let me put some question here. Let's say UDP government not see PAM be, what would happen in terms of generating confidence, in terms of accountability, in terms
of investigations into all those audits? We're going to have a forensic audit of what happened in this country.
And you want all the money back as much as possible?
Of course.
Because Senegal, they are making a lot of money.
And they have recovered tens of billions of CFA.
Okay.
Because look, Ndeka Memfo, Kufula BJ, those are not forgivable as far as I am concerned. Rape and misappropriation of national resources. Yenna kodota yal domo fufal to kono be o fintindilale. Because wala katina ba ko be kola yarinte wala ta molwe fakantare wala molwe kola yal kono mo killing mo da tay si yo domo fufal to kono bataro kono o tekela That cannot be left to continue. Nimo stop impunity to banna. And in impunity man bank kuruya and corruption te ban nola. Be Senegal, mo bi ka hani ka fa bi corruption o kala. Because impunity bantale. They are arresting former ministers. Former ministers are in jail. Former directors general are in jail.
Some are going through the back
Former
way.
secretaries general are in jail.
But they are going after
The
them.
president's son has absconded.
But they want to go after him.
They will go after him.
Yeah, it's Mobuka escape no yun ladal because
escape
these are
because-
things many alonko. Internationally it becomes known. And West is always agree.
And
You
you
come
see-
from Kamale because they put in a lot of resources. Yeah, you can squander. You know, it's
Now, Sonko are going to get so much aid in the next year that it are used no longer.
It has started pouring in.
Because
Aid,
at
huh?
least
Billions of
multilaterally. Okay? Plus the national resources coming from Lanyokan, they are going to be floating and swimming in cash, whilst we are drowning in poverty and misery. So that will kill off our country. B, in Senegal, Momo Sunyaroke, Benin, Casino, military no back, but even they are coming back.
Because
Because they have issued international arrest warrants for most of them.
Yes, I heard.
After all bondita, suit all bondita, nyati morsol bondita, molie fai sisole tata backward. It's interesting.
It's very
The whole time
interesting.
they're in Jamfang,
Yeah, wonderful,
Gambia,
yeah,
yeah,
wonderful.
you know.
But the lesson to be learned, and they always go from Mole because Kuria buka labang. Ike fam batandi ka mol batandi. In the end, aka fintile and a new toro kawara because B mol nyante nyalo la Senegal ka membije. Anything happening B is an example. Test cubole me alongo men nyanta ajube la membe caring B. Because that's to teach everybody a lesson. And it's not impossible.
Impunity a bank.
Yes.
I was listening to Parliament Kunung. The Nam Fongain Sanjal had the guts. Kalo Parliament, Kafu Mole Komili Fintita, Nimetol Lemu, and Ninol.
I don't remember. Yes. I hope that's not a bad omen for everybody
And
else.
not just that,
How can you say that?
In Rwanda,
Rwanda,
genocide,
during the
genocide was based on that in Rwanda.
It's so
Radio
uncondescending.
Mil Colin, ikatali kafu tutsinyo ko tutsilmu nyino leti ani nyepetol.
Rats and
Actually,
So you dehumanize them. Okay? You see Fano Lefente nyepetol ron mani nyino
He
le.
should come out to apologize publicly.
and
I
that
think
is where
was
he
the
got
case.
it from.
And
That is where he
was
got it
still
from.
Biro Keta, Fabakar Tombon Jata was sitting there, Fanchika Makmoya, Besira,
No,
he didn't condemn it. He should
No,
have stopped it
he should
there.
have.
He should have stopped him there and said, that is not acceptable in Parliament.
Okay, anyway,
Continue.
I seems if I could what to read of that. So I want to thank you very much, Mr. Larry Cisse, with your library. Diary mina fula
red diary.
at the time we live for all the time. Na fula ni na nga jube muna bakono. And thank you, Mr. Mane, as usual. A conversation interesting tabakele, and hopefully we'll come back with another episode.
But
of,
before we conclude,
issues. Yeah, if you have.
Yes, I just want to say, Nimbeke Kanyemba Kokang, Gambia will be a jelly. And with gentlemen Lona Wallan Kanyema Sakundata reform Nola. Muta Fadin Nola, Kafugan Baran African Gamako, Fusil Fasilul Falira, Tarambulul Falling. It have Tarambulul Falling Nola. Cooking into the Kanyema Sakunda Konajang, and Gambia Jang, Wallan Kanyema Sakunda Jindi. Ka jindinga UDP Sindije 2026 momo nyimbanko kano momo yalon ko de lafta banko eta nyaato yidi woli ni bombari woli kayro so nyimbanko kan anite fango finti carte fay UDP ani milibela la UDP kan alliance ke wala coalition ali carte fay nga nyima sakunda ko rumo bondi
Okay.
ni mo ke banko be me tunen nale because in Korea be yen in 2026 ngi bula sita ibe singolo la bekanne and they will do worse.
Anyway, thank you, Mr. Mario, time and Charles. I thank you, Allah Barakabaka viewers. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll be back again with another episode of Gambia We Want. Thank you very much.